Hey, hi all, Randy Roth here. Hey, have you ever noticed that, there's a lot of people saying, well, it doesn't matter what your view of eschatology is. And, it's like it'll all pan out in the end. The problem with that thinking is that Jesus warns us about the deceit concerning his return, as does Paul, who tells us that there's those who teach wrongly that our gathering unto him is at hand, imminent, without the man of perdition being revealed. And then Peter, he's kind of bold and blunt. He tells us that those who twist what Paul says on the matter do so with all of Scripture, and then he calls them wicked and tells us not to fall from our own steadfastness. That's pretty serious. So, does it really matter? Well, Jesus tells us that there are 10 virgins watching for his return. They're all watching. The 5 foolish, they simply don't have oil. And the reason they don't have oil is because they didn't bring a vessel to replenish their lamps. They had oil in their lamps to begin with, but they miscalculated how long the bridegroom would tarry. And therefore, when it actually came around to it, they noticed we're not going to have enough to actually spend time in the wedding. So, if you want to know how to have the correct view, here's the key element that needs to happen. Does the Bible state the fundamental foundations of the view? If you look at the post-trib view and say, oh, well, that's not in Scripture, the problem with that is that Jesus directly states that he comes after the tribulation of those days in Matthew 24, verse 29 through 31. The fundamental foundation of the pre-trib is the idea that he comes prior to tribulation. So does Scripture say anywhere that he comes prior to tribulation? No, there's not a single verse. So does your view define Scripture, or does Scripture define your view? So if Scripture states your view, all you have to do is present Scripture. If Scripture does not state your view, now you have a problem. You have to actually present man's assumption, man's speculation, man's conjecture, and eventually you have to flat out lie to state what you want to state, such as, no man knows the day or the hour of the rapture. Well, the Scripture says, heaven and earth will pass away, and of that day no man knows the day or the hour of the rapture. The rapture supposedly happens 7 years or a period of time before the heavens would be destroyed. And by the way, if that's the case, it would create a 7-year countdown to when the heavens would be destroyed. Peter tells us that Jesus comes like a thief in the night when the heavens are destroyed with a great noise. So that's 2 Peter 3:10. So if Jesus comes like a thief in the night when the heavens are destroyed with a great noise, there can't be a rapture 7 years prior that creates a countdown to when the heavens are destroyed. This really comes down to real simplicity of what the Scripture says. And people can go all day long telling me I don't know what the Scripture says, or I misinterpret the Scripture. The deal is we are not called to interpret Scripture, but to rightly divide what is already written. So if Scripture doesn't state it, there is no interpreting something into something that doesn't say what you're trying to get it to say. All right. Straightforward, simple, short. All right. Take care. God bless.